everyone, my name is Catherine and I just got home from being in Scotland for a week with Contiki doing their Scotland in a week trip, and I wanted to talk to you all about it and do a general trip recap, talk about the itinerary, and really just what I loved about the trip, why I love Contiki and traveling with them, and what you can expect if you are to book a Scotland in a week trip with them. I did take some notes on my phone, so if you see me looking down, I wanted to be prepared because there's just so much and I don't want to just ramble on. So the first thing is that typically I'm in Europe for longer than a week. I think this is like the shortest amount of time that I've been in Europe, but I think this trip really fits in so much in the like 6 or 7 days that you're actively traveling around Scotland with Contiki. And it is so great for people who cannot be gone from home for whatever reason, whether it's work, PTO, you have to take care of like a dependent, family member, friend, pet, whatever it may be. Not all of us can just leave and enjoy Europe or somewhere else for 2+ month plus whatever may be weeks or months. And so if you want to go somewhere but you only have a week, I think Contiki does a really great job of fitting in so much in this week. And I think that we did everything. There's not one thing that I think about when I think about my trip in Scotland of Contiki that I wished I had done or had time to do. It is a lot, you do a lot, and it can be tiring. I fell asleep very quickly each night and was pretty tired, but I always felt refreshed in the mornings. And yeah, I just loved the pace and how much we were able to do in 1 week. I love traveling with Contiki because I get to travel on my own terms, when I want, where I want, and how I want, and they plan all the logistics for me, like the accommodations, the tour guide, transportation from city to city, making sure we hit all the sites, but then also the tour guide themselves, when you have free time, will give you local and expert recommendations from where to eat, or if you want to see like certain museums or something like that. And it is so great. People always ask me how I've been able to travel so much. And one of the big things for me is that I don't wait for my friends or people in my personal life to travel, because if I did, I would have gone to like 5 countries in my life versus the amount I've actually gone on. And I don't wait around for people, and I'm not afraid to make that jump and go travel with a company and meet friends along the way. And that's another great thing about Contiki, is that there are built-in friends in your age range from 18 to 35. Yes, there's a big difference between an 18-year-old and a 35-year-old, but it ranges anywhere between there. And you're bound to find some people in their 30s or in their 20s that you can relate with and get to know and become friends with. And you just get this built-in travel community and friends that you make along the way and share these incredible experiences with. And I feel like you just need not even a full day, like half a day, before you're really getting to know these people. And on this trip, we liked to joke that we didn't know each other beforehand, but then towards the end of the trip, we knew each other's like personal stories, their dating lives, what time they took their medication, and all kinds of like personal things. And it's just so funny how much you can bond and learn so quickly, especially when sharing a bonding experience such as traveling around a certain country in a week. So as for the actual schedule itself, the way we did like the nature versus the city was really good. So we started and ended the trip in cities, and the middle part was in more nature focused part of Scotland. So we started in Edinburgh, which is the capital of Scotland. And also, just when you think of Europe and you think of Scotland and the cobblestone streets and the really cool old architecture with the castles, Edinburgh is that. So it was really great to be able to see like the most picturesque and European of the Europe cities first, especially being like an American or someone who's not from Europe. And it was really great to see that. But then going and being able to see the Highlands afterwards for a couple of days was also really great. And then ending off in Glasgow, which is the most city of the cities. And by that, I mean they have more like skyscrapers, it's busier. So for me, when I think of like delicious food around the world, Scotland does not come to mind. But we did learn on this trip that Scotland does have some really great food. Haggis is one thing they're known for, and It's one of those things where you don't think about what it is, but it tastes really good, and it's the national dish of Scotland. And I have to see the specifics, but I think it just kind of varies. It's just various animal intestines mixed up together and then cooked in the lining of a sheep, I believe. And then you don't eat the lining of the sheep, it's just used for cooking. And so a lot of people were brave enough to try it on our trip. And for the most part, everybody said it was pretty good, and people did get it more than once, which shows that they did like it. Another thing that was popular was sticky toffee pudding, which is a dessert. We had dessert for every lunch and dinner. I feel like there was so much dessert on this trip. You were fed well on this trip. People were saying we should have done a video comparing all of the different sticky toffee puddings we've tried, because it was at least once, if not twice a day, that someone was getting it for their dessert, because every restaurant pretty much offered it. Another thing that's popular in Scotland and the UK in general is fish and chips. I had it twice on the trip, and they're very good, generous portions. I love fish and chips. I was very happy about having that. So that's also a common food found in Scotland. So going back to the day-to-day, so we started in Edinburgh, and we got to fit so much in the 2 or so days that we were there. We got to see the Edinburgh Castle, which is a beautiful castle that's set on top of the hill, like overlooking the city. And I feel like it's the #1 thing you have to do when you go to Edinburgh. So that's what we did first, and we actually ended up going back as well to get more photos. And then we did hike Arthur's Seat, which is right by the city. We walked there from the hotel maybe 10-15 minutes, and I'd say it's a moderate hike that takes between an hour to an hour and a half. And at the top you get to see beautiful views of the city. And one cool thing about Arthur's Seat is they have these like yellow flowers throughout. That's beautiful. We were there in like winter, cusp of spring, so there weren't as many, but I have hiked Arthur's Seat in the summer, and it's just everywhere. I love the color yellow, and it's beautiful. And it's just, no matter when you go, a beautiful place to go and hike. We also walked around Victoria Street, which has some cool Harry Potter sites to see if you're a fan, such as what people say is the birthplace of Harry Potter, the Elephant House. Also, Victoria Street is just beautiful with the colorful houses, and people say that it is what inspired Diagon Alley in Harry Potter. Next, we went up to the Highlands, and we stayed in the middle of the city, like a great spot. My view of the hotel was overlooking this beautiful bridge that lit up at night with this river. And from there, we got to make stops along the way to the hotel and from the hotel, and then when we were actually staying there as well. And this was probably my favorite part of the trip. There was a particular day, March 7th, I remember, because it was the day before my birthday. My birthday was still incredible. I recommend doing a Contiki trip on your birthday. It's such a fun way to celebrate it. But my favorite day started out when we were staying in the Highlands. We started going on a cruise on Loch Ness. Now, I don't necessarily believe in the Loch Ness Monster, even though it's kind of fun to play with that idea and see. I did a poll on my Instagram, and most people said they believe in it, but I don't know if they were joking or not. We got to go on a Loch Ness cruise, and I love a good cruise, and seeing a place from the viewpoint from water is also really fun. The driver of the boat said that he saw a sighting of the Loch Ness Monster 6 months prior, and that there's been over 1,000 sightings from the particular lake that we were cruising. So that's very interesting, and I don't know what kinds of sightings there were, if it was like from afar, blurry, whatever it may be, but it's just really fun to see these kind of myths or not myths and kind of explore the idea. And it's just a fun added bonus to cruising around a lake, is to be able to see if you can like spot the Loch Ness Monster. We also ended up curling, which is a sport very popular in Scotland on ice. And I would have never tried that. Even like when we were about to try it, I was a little nervous because it's on ice, and I've tried ice skating before and I'm really bad at it and I'd fall, but we weren't in ice skates, but still. And I ended up learning that I'm pretty good at curling. I scored one of the 2 winning points on either team. My team ended up scoring both the winning points, and I scored one of them. And the point is just to have like this big puck with a handle, and you push it just enough, not too much, not too little, to get it into the circle. And you have your teammates helping smooth out the ice if you need to go further. And then the opposing team, one of them will do the opposite if like you're going too far, and they'll smooth out the ice to like try to get your puck out of the circle, if that all makes sense. But I did not think that I would love it the way that I did, and it's actually one of my top memories from this trip in general. Within that day, we also got to check out some deer, and then also the Highland coos or cows that are just like the mascot, I feel like, of Scotland. And we had to see them, of course, these beautiful long-haired coos, and they were so beautiful, and there were also babies as well. I was just freaking out. And also that lunch that day was really good. We had homemade food from the place that, like, the land where the coos were living on. They made us like this beautiful, ironically, beef stew along with this veggie curry that people were obsessed with. We got to toast marshmallows. People were saying this was their favorite meal of the entire trip. Being able to take a cruise and try to spot the Loch Ness and then seeing the deer and the coos was my absolute favorite day, and I think most people could agree with me that it was their favorite day as well. So one cool thing I really love about Contiki is that they have us try local and cultural activities that I probably wouldn't have tried out on my own. We went to a local conservation place that really told us about what efforts they're trying to do within Scotland and what types of species they're trying to reintroduce, and also educate people about the conservation in Scotland and what is going on, as well as employ local people in that particular area of Scotland. So I thought that was really cool. We also walked around the area and it was absolutely beautiful. And then after spending some time in the Highlands, we ended up going down south to Glasgow because most of us had international flights to go out of Scotland or a international train, and so that makes sense. But also Glasgow, I feel like, is a must see. And from there we got to have a walking tour with our guide and learn some really cool facts about Glasgow. Going to Glasgow, another cool thing is seeing all the graffiti art around there. And we ended up playing like Mario Kart style Rainbow Road, like a race. They had this sidewalk that had just like the LGBTQ rainbow flag, and it was massive. So we all coordinated with our outfits because we were wearing pretty colorful outfits to the colors. I was on the blue lane and we all tried racing and things like that. It's just so fun, and I just would like take a moment and be like, I'm with these people that I'm now close friends with that I didn't know existed a week ago, and we're playing Rainbow Road Mario Kart style in Glasgow on like a random Sunday. It was just so cool. I just like things like that I just love about these types of trips. And also every single Contiki trip, including the Scotland in a week, you will be getting a trip manager that works with Contiki, and sometimes if you're in a certain city you'll also get a local guide as well. So for our tour we had a trip manager by the name of Sam, and he was so great, so attentive. Any questions that you have, concerns, whatever it may be, he had us covered, and he was also very entertaining. He gave us a PowerPoint presentation on one of the longer drives about Scotland in general, so we got to learn about Scotland. He told us about some fun stories in the past with other Contiki groups, such as some haunted stories, because Scotland is known to have a good amount of like haunted places like hotels or whatnot, so he gave us some spooky stories. It was just great, a great mix of being entertaining but also just being there for us with any question that we have. I'd also say that there's a good balance between planned activities and also free time. So a part of like a tour is that you don't want to plan all the things and have to do all the research, like what's the big thing to see, when is it open, what time to go, getting tickets, all of that. So Contiki does that for us, just like, for example, getting us tickets to the Edinburgh Castle. We also went to Stirling Castle as well, and other things like that. And transportation, that's accounted for us. Having this big bus that's just for our group was great. Contiki plans all of the logistics for you, but then there's also free time so that you can do what you want to. For example, in Edinburgh, we had free time. Some people went souvenir shopping because they had particular souvenirs they wanted to get. Some of us, we went to Dean's Village, which is a very picturesque and beautiful part of Edinburgh. And it's just, I think, such a great mix and balance to be able to just really have the best of everything. The planned logistics from Contiki, but then also doing what you want to do and catering the trip to you. So that has been my trip recap of Scotland in a week with Contiki. Let me know if you've ever done this trip or want to do this trip. I highly recommend it, especially if you do not have a bunch of time to spend away from home for whatever reason. But even then, you can always stack trips together. I like to do that if you want to see Scotland, but then you also want to see London and maybe other parts of Europe if you're traveling from, say, the US. This is also a great way to stack because it is just a week long. But also Scotland isn't a massive country, so it's a great country to be able to fit in that week's span. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Bye!